When it comes to strategies, Adam, you touched briefly upon it, right? It's not gonna sound as a surprise to many, and me myself, being, let's say, a product manager, it's really important to actually, experiment. I would say when it comes to globalization, in order to actually attach this to the whole topic, it's very important to remove assumptions as a first step. And when it comes to removing assumptions, create your hypothesis around how you would like to effectively expand your product or your business or your actual, let's say, product line, and then effectively, experiment and eventually localize. I think these steps are very important and they need to be followed as such. Because there is always a lot of consultancies, a lot of insights globally that might create a lot of assumptions on what, let's say, a user in Brazil or a user in Greece or a user in Germany might look like, and a lot of archetypes or personas. However, it's very surprising sometimes when you run research, when you experiment on your product, how different this kind of let's say personas can look like and how different the product can be shaped moving it forward from experimentation. Just to give you a couple of examples that ring to mind, and I prepared actually for today. So ATG Entertainment is a live entertainment business. We have a couple of venues, we have productions, we have different venues around the world. And when we were looking into expanding our ticketing websites over to the US, right, although we are primarily a European business, we were actually considering a lot of different aspects. What do local players do in the US? How are they actually selling their tickets? What kind of experience are they offering? Something that struck us from the beginning of let's say, the entire user research perspective was the fact that most local providers or ticketing websites were actually offering single color seat maps. So then users could, choose their seats into a single color based seat map, and then they can go through the different checkout flows. That was very different to what we have over in Europe in many countries, right? Where we're offering different colors according to different signage or according to different price points. Whether a seat, let's say, features a benefit or a promo and so forth. So yeah, we had this assumption that maybe it's better to actually, offer as well, single color seat maps in the US while we're launching our ticketing websites rather than going into colored seat maps the way we had them over in Europe. But for that, in order to actually, proceed with such a decision, you actually need proper experimentation, proper assumptions to be able to construct a whole, let's say, model out of it. To our surprise, upon experimenting further, we actually found out that indeed, a lot of customers seem to perform much better in the US when it came to colored, single color seat maps compared to multicolor seat maps, and vice versa. Over in the UK and Germany, it was actually the other way around. People were actually not performing as expected for our primary metrics. And it was something that we actually started hearing also from the contact center, that they were complaining about, moving into monochromes and not being able to find their favorite seats into their venues and so forth. So it was a very striking difference between how different users, different regions actually, perform into this simple item for many, just choosing your seat. But yeah, that was actually very striking, and how you can localize further. I'm not sure if we run out of time. I have one more example. Can I share it quickly or?
Yeah, you could share an example.
Okay, perfect. Another one which comes to mind, right? And that was from a recent experience before ATG, actually. So I was a PM in PepsiCo. We were building global products. We were rolling out market upon market for business intelligence solutions within the business. For those who know or are familiar with PepsiCo, right? We're talking 50,000 plus employees. So it was a solid user base as well. But different markets have very different ways at looking their data, looking at their reports, structuring the whole, let's say, business line as well based on those numbers. When we were rolling out into different markets, we started actually with the UK, then we followed up with Spain, with France, and so forth, or Turkey and Russia. These were the biggest markets in Europe. We were noticing, although some markets were actually utilizing all the reports and they were very active, they were sharing feedback, we were seeing great numbers. Other markets were dead silent. Nobody was using them. Nobody seemed engaged. It was very interesting as well, because we actually, communicated with all of them in advance. We made a lot of demos, a lot of walkthroughs, newsletters and so forth. So the community was there. It's just something was lacking and they were not using the product. So post organizing specific moderate sessions, right, in order to understand, what is the core hypothesis we had, why aren't you using our product and so forth, we found out very quickly and strikingly into 3 of the markets that the users were pretty vocal, saying that, hey, this is not how my data looks like. This is not how it works like. This is not how I view my product line or how I analyze for my quarterly business review meetings. So we disengage users by actually assuming that they would be the same just because they belong, in the same company, they've been working there for years, and they would actually, just have the same sensitivities or weaknesses and strengths and so forth. So it was very interesting. The moment actually we started changing all the reporting lines, just creating specific widgets, specific views for those markets, we noticed that actually after 6 months, a 60% uptick in terms of product adoption, active usage base, and actually 10% even when it came to daily usage within the different markets. So it was great success in order to, localize your product, keep in mind their sensitivities, keep in mind their concerns, and involve